This is an interview with Manuel Loupassi for the Virginia Holocaust Museum, Richmond, Virginia. Today is November 17th, 2005, and we are at the Virginia Holocaust Museum. The interviewer is Inga Horowitz, videographer Chuck Weitzenhofer, and an observer in the room is Mrs. Cynthia Becker. Mr. Loupassi, could you please state your name and spell it for me?
My original name is Manuel Loupassi, and the American version as an American citizen is Manuel, M-A-N-U-E-L. Last name is pronounced Loupassi, L-O-U-P-A-S-S-I.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Where were you born, and spell that, please?
I was born in a Souda in island Crete, and the name of the city is S-O-U-D-A.
How old are you?
I'm 68 years old.
And your birth date, please?
1837.
1937. What languages do you speak?
Greek and English.
Thank you. Let's begin by learning something about the island of Crete, please.
According to the historians, the island Crete is, in the history books, about 5,500 years old. The beginning of the known history of Crete starts with the Minoan period, which is, according to the historians, is the car of the European civilization. There was very advanced civilization, and there was a great sailors and merchants, and there was have a lot of influence in the whole Mediterranean Sea, from the Phoenicia all the way to Spain.
Where is it on this map? Can you show us?
It's just about in the center of Mediterranean Sea.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, the island is a long island, about 160 miles long from east to west, with a lot of mountains and a very rich fields for agriculture, and is more or less self-sufficient under the circumstances. They can take care of the population for what they're producing.
And the surrounding countries there?
The actual Crete geographically is between three continents: Africa, Asia, and Europe.
Yes.
The closest continent is Europe, and then the Asia and Africa is about 150 miles close to it. So it's in the corner of the three continents.
Yes. And at the mouth of
Aegean Sea,
the Aegean.
And then on the south of Crete is Libyan Sea, which is about 170 miles away from Libya.
Mm-hmm. Very strategic location.
Very strategic. And Souda Bay, where I was born, is very strategic harbor ever since the beginning of the time. It's a very natural harbor that I remember the Sixth Fleet, American fleet, ever since 1946 was visit the harbor and was take all the 48 ships in with no problem, the warships.
48 warships in a fleet.
In American Sixth Fleet. The whole American Sixth Fleet visit
and where is that harbor?
The harbor is right here.
Mm-hmm. What happened there during World War II on Crete?
World War II, we have a situation that the Germans want the island Crete to be like a bridge between Europe and Africa for supplies and strategic situations like moving soldiers and supplies to the Africa front.
Mm-hmm.
So 1941, they decided they couldn't go by the sea because the British fleet was too powerful. So for first time in a war history, they decided to go with the paratroopers to take over the island for strategic reasons. So British, New Zealanders, and Australians and a Greek army was ready to defend the German troops. And
against the Germans.
Against the Germans, yeah, to defend against the German troops. And when the Germans decided to come with the paratroopers, they pick a field which was airport. So first they send the fighter aeroplanes to destroy all the defenses, and then put the paratroops in the field. For a known reason, the British commander decided was not the right place for them to defend against the Germans, so he moves his troops on the south part of Crete to take them back to the Egypt in the North Africa.
To be able to evacuate.
Right. So the fight between the Germans and the Allied forces lasted about 9 days, and the Germans took over the island. The fight was fierce. The German troops lost about 8,000 soldiers.
Really?
So I'm pretty sure the Allies lost right many soldiers too, but I don't know the number. Today you can see cemeteries with all the German soldiers is laid dead, and also the Allied soldiers in a different cemetery. So
then the Germans took over.
the Germans took over. They say that one of the paratroopers was Max Mellin.
Really?
He fought in a Battle of Crete.
And that was when did that happen?
That
German
happened.
takeover.
That happened. The Germans took over sometimes in May 1941.
And tell us now about the Jewish population of Crete.
At the time, the information I have in the 3 major cities in Crete, the Jewish population was about 3,500.
At what time? When was that?
That was about the time when the Germans arrived in Ireland.
Okay.
The presence of a Jewish population, according to the sources I have, was about 2,000-3,000 years ago in Ireland. They've been over there for a long time.
And what was their life? How did they
They live peaceful there? And they have a good terms with the local population. They have their own neighborhood, and there was merchants, and all of them they would speak Greek, and really was no different than the other population.
They attended the public schools.
Right. Everything.
They
They would speak Greek language and everything. They
had their houses
right.
of
They
worship.
have synagogues and everything.
Where principally did Jews live on Crete?
They was live next to a busy marketplaces that they was doing business with. They have some. They have a business in the first floor and a residence in the above, which was a general lifestyle at the time for just about all the merchants, Greeks or Jewish or whatever.
And what then happened under Nazi occupation?
Well, under Nazi occupation, the Cretan population was fight the Germans any kind possible way, and also we have a British commandos in the mountains that they was trained and have an upper hand how to do fight against the German forces, which was based in island Crete at the time. the supplies was coming at night by airdrops. British aeroplanes was dropped, arms and different other things that was need. They have a communication established, so they knew how to, take care of business more or less. And plus they have strong ties with the local, freedom fighters, and they create different groups to monitor the German movements or make a sabotage against the German installations in the island. So that, therefore, since the situation was not so peaceful, the Germans, not only in Crete but all over in Greece, they have forced to keep about 300,000 army to keep the country in peace, which is really the army could be used in Africa or in the front, in the Russian front, which is really that contribute, plus for the Allies and the minus for the Germans.
Yes. So
And I believe the whole thing was because the sentiment was anti-German, because the type government they have, and the Nazi system wants to impose against other populations by force. Mm-hmm. They didn't try to help the local populations. They was put very harsh ordinance that if any German soldier would be killed or die or whatever, they would execute at least 50 citizens, no matter if they did anything wrong or not. Mm-hmm. So that's the way it happened.
So that's what life was like.
Right.
Generally under
exactly
the
right. You have a fear, oppression. You mm-hmm. couldn't do anything. You could go into school. You can do anything. You just only thing you was trying to do to survive.
Mm-hmm. Are you aware of Jewish participation? You were young.
I was very young. I could give you
no
information
idea.
on that. I couldn't even give you any information on that.
Let's talk about your father. He really is the central focus
right. mm-hmm.
of this interview.
Right. The situation with my father, we was in a seaport town, and my mother had an idea that would be a lot of bombing due to the installations the British and the Greeks have over there.
And this was Souda.
Souda, yeah.
Is
so
where
19.
You were born.
That's
you were
it.
living, and you showed us on
Yeah,
the map. That's
right.
where that big harbor
Right,
was.
exactly right.
Okay.
So my mother told my father the best thing for us to do, go to the mountains, because I don't want my family to be killed here, because she was more or less have idea, and that's exactly what happened, that all the aeroplanes and all the other fighting going to be in Souda, because it was a Navy base. Mm-hmm. So actually Souda right now is still big NATO base with a submarine installations.
Today, it's a NATO base.
Mm-hmm. It's a NATO base, have a tremendous airport for B-52s, and the Iraqi war in the last time, since the Turkey didn't allow the American troops to go by air or ground to fight the Iraqi war, the B-52s was take off every day with the bombs, fly from Souda Bay to Iraq.
Really?
And that's why the airport was built for B-52s, for really, really good airport.
Right. So your mother was the one who
Right. So we left Souda in the fall of 1940. And we was hitting for the mountains. Eventually, my father knew the mayor of a little town, Malathiro, which is about 35 miles up on the mountains from the Souda Bay. Mm-hmm. So he went over there, and some kind of way we was living their house, and my father was working with the other guy to tend the farms and whatever the guy was on. At that time, looked like the British commandants was not part of the country, and since the man was a mayor of the country, of the little village, the British was the first to contact to see how he can get hooked up with a, different situations to do business with, give them food, give them information.
And your family was living with this
We was
man.
living with this man, yeah.
So that was his
very,
mentor.
very patriotic, great person. I still remember him and his wife, and it was a childless couple, and they was look after. Actually, it was very happy childhood because we have two sets of parents, our friends, and our natural parents. So anyway, my father, since he knew the territory real well, from Malathiro to Souda, at the time when they got organized, he had his primary job was to leave every Monday and go in a city and also give a report to his unit. Now, I don't know how many people in the unit was. Could be 10, could be 5, or could be 3.
This was, let's see, there's some water there. I think that might.
So anyway, the job of my father was to give information, the installations and the movements of the German troops, what's happening, and also get much supplies he could, like clothes and shoes, and bring me the back for the unit or the other units that unit would supply. So I remember plenty times he was bringing me jackets and the shoes and everything, and I remember late in the night some fearsome people was coming in our house and pick up the supplies because there was a freedom fighters. They never come in the daytime. They always come in the night and get whatever they could get from him.
So his job was basically
Yeah.
to provide supplies.
Supplies and also provide information where the German installations was and what movements they was making. You see? So anyway, for some unknown reason, the Germans got information that the little village was doing have an activity like that. So one day, the 28th of August 1944, about 500 or 600 soldiers, they come and put a ring around the village so nobody gonna escape. So they took all the men between 16 and 60, and without any court or any reason, they took him in at sunset and executed. So 60 men died. A lot of them, they didn't have no idea, what was happening in a village, because not everybody was involved.
In the resistance.
You see, so for no reason they killed all of them. The reason was justified for the people that was fight against them, but then you have maybe 70% of the population that didn't do anything wrong and it just died for.
Were you aware of this at the
I hear them.
time?
I remember the German soldiers that morning, and they asked my mother for eggs, and she gave them eggs, and then they say, "Where is your husband is?" And at that morning, my father was warming up milk downstairs to give us breakfast. So they went and picked him up. We have no idea they're going to execute him. I thought, we thought it would be questioning or whatever, and it'd be fine. And then by 7 o'clock in the night, I hear the machine guns, which would be about where the execution squad was, in a creek down maybe half a mile from the village, down the creek. And they kill everybody. One man survived because he was very lucky, and because he had a blonde hair and a blue eyes, so they thought he was a British fighter, so they beat him real bad, so he had a lot of blood in his face. So after the execution, they thought he was dead, and he made it, and then after that he became a priest. Every time I visit the village, I went and saw him, and I was, have a lot of good conversations with him. Very nice person.
Had he been in the resistance too?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'd never asked about that. I'm pretty sure because he was a trained fighter from the front in the north.
Is your father buried there?
Yeah.
Are these men there?
All the men, they buried together and they have a monument on it. And also they have another monument where they got executed. They have two sides with the monuments where all the 60 men is buried in the same monument, and also where they got executed, they got another monument on it.
Mm-hmm.
And they celebrate every year the 28th of August.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only in Malatharo or?
Yeah, in Malatharo, yeah. It's a local,
town?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
In this town.
And that's the reason I'm here in the United States, because I got uprooted. I lost my father. Yep. If it was not for the Nazis, I would never be here in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
See, I lost my daddy, and I have to move on, do everything I can to help my family.
So from the time you left Souda with your family, fall of 1940,
Mm-hmm.
until August of 44, almost 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
you were living in Malatharo. And
Just about, except the traveling time. Maybe we stay here and then until we got there, a few days or maybe month, but just about the majority of the time we went over there.
Mm-hmm. You traveled on foot?
The majority of the traveling to certain point was with a horse and budget. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I was hanging in my mother's neck because I was a baby child. And then we was walking. We stayed somewhere for a little while until we finally got the final destination. Mm-hmm. Because my father probably knew this guy for a long time. So that's where he went to.
Right. Is there anything else that you would want to explain about your father's activities?
Well, it's not much more to know than what I say, because
Right.
at the time I was 4 or 5 years old.
You were
At
seven.
the time when, yeah, seven. The time when
and a half when he was
the
shot.
time when he executed.
Right. What do you see as the main reason to tell your father's story? What lessons?
The lesson I learned is that the humanity have to get educated and resist any authoritarian government worldwide, so they would never suffer like I did and all the other population, Jewish population and a European population in general, due to a fact of the political system some people try to support. Mm-hmm. So here I am because of that situation.
So how do we resist an authoritarian government?
The whole world got to be together and have a central war situation like the UN we have now to resist. The whole world got to be against the totalitarian governments. Do everything we can to avoid them.
How do you answer people who say this never happened, especially the Holocaust?
Oh, I know better than that. That happened to me.
You know.
That's why I'm here in this interview.
Right.
That sometimes people hate people for no reason, because they got their agenda. You see, so you're gonna have to have a watchdogs to educate the people and avoid never to happen again. And I really feel sorry for anybody who was a victim to the brutality of the Nazis. So I was one.
Right. Tell us just a little about your family, your mother and brothers, sisters.
No, my mother, father, 2 sisters, and I.
You had 2 sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Were they older?
They're older than me.
Is your mother still living?
No, she passed 1986.
She came to this country.
She came to this country one time to visit me.
Oh, but she died on Crete.
Oh yeah, she stayed here 6 months. Yeah, she Never, nobody. I'm the only one from the family.
Your sisters are there
Yeah.
still?
They visit here, but they permanent residents over there.
And when did you come here?
1958.
1958. And where did you settle?
I have an uncle, my mother's brother was in West Virginia, and I stayed over there for a little while, and I was ready to go into New York City, and for some reason, another friend knew somebody in Richmond. I didn't even know Richmond was existing, and he said, if you go in Richmond, somebody gonna give you a job, and I got a job as a dishwasher in a Holiday Inn,
Really?
1958.
And you stayed here?
Yeah, I stayed the whole time.
Did you come here alone?
Yes,
So you met your wife here.
right. I met my wife in Richmond.
How old were you then in 1958?
21.
38? Oh, you were very young.
Yeah,
yes.
21 years old.
And what did you do here after you were a dishwasher?
Well, after I was dishwasher, I learned a little bit about the restaurant business, and then I opened a restaurant in 18th and Franklin, not too far away from here, 1959. I kept that restaurant for a little while, and my business was not that good, so I got out, and then I opened another one on 114 and a half West Broad Street. And then I stay in that, in a 114 and a half for about 3 years. And a good friend of mine, he was Jewish, Mr. Spector, have a pool hall next to the restaurant, and he have a brother from Emporia, Virginia, that there was owned with Mr. Bloom, the property in a 2601 Park Avenue. So his brother told the guy who was run the restaurant in 2601 Park Avenue, he couldn't pay the rent. So Mr. Spector told his brother, if you want a good tenant, this Greek boy is working hard, he might make a good tenant for your property, so go and talk to him. So Mr. Spector met me and told me all about the situation, and I decided to go in 2601 Park Avenue, and they was been very nice and supportive to me the whole time. In matter of fact, a couple of years later, they sold me the property and they hold the finance, and I stay in that building until today, which is 41 years later.
Robin Inn.
And Robin Inn restaurant, and now my daughter is running it, and the only thing I'm doing now, I got a few pieces of property, I'm just working my retirement to do, repair work and whatever I like to do with it.
Wonderful. Well, the restaurant is famous.
Yeah.
Very
Stay
well
over there,
known.
work real hard, and it was a good location and pay me pretty good.
And Frida Savage's son worked
Yeah,
there.
Ace, yeah.
What was his name?
Ace.
Ace?
Yeah, Ace Savage.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw him the other day.
Oh, you saw him? He's in a home now, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, if you ever see him, tell him Manuel say hi.
I will.
Yeah.
Your wife, who did you marry?
Her name is Carol Hodges,
And you have children
by previous marriage.
by previous
Yeah.
marriage.
This is my second wife.
And your children?
The children is, the oldest is Maria. The second one is Nikki, Niki. And the last one is Manoli, the boy.
Yes. And tell us what Manoli is doing now.
Manoli is an attorney, and also he's the president of council for the city of Richmond.
He's the
president of the council,
of the city council.
city council, yeah.
Yes. You should be so proud.
I'm proud from all three of them. They're nice, very nice children.
Only in America.
Yeah,
right?
only that's exactly right. That's my American dream, whatever it is, bad or good.
Tell us about your daughters then.
The one is running, the youngest, Nikki, running the restaurant, and the other one is a stay-at-home mom. Got 2 children.
How many grandchildren have you?
6.
6. Have you any last thoughts that you would want to share with your family and with the people who will be watching this?
Well, the only thing I can say, my journey was due to a fact I was uprooted, and on the other hand, I was very lucky to come in this loving country, like a lot of immigrants come here, and live my dream. I realized that this would be probably the only country in the world that an uprooted man like me can come and find way to satisfy his needs for self-exploration, because the opportunity is here. You can self-explore yourself to see what kind of person you are, because you got the opportunity, and if you have the ability, you can really self-explore yourself to find out what you make by, and what else more you want out of life.
Right. Now, Mr. Loupassi, this is wonderful. Would you remove the map and show us a few of the pictures that were taken from a book
About
that you own?
the Battle of Crete.
It's called The Battle of Crete.
Yes. All right. We see here, this is my father. The time when he executed, he was 41 years old, very healthy and a beautiful person, a good father and a good husband. And then here was the survivor, Papagiannis, which is the one from the 61 people. He was the only one to survive, and he became a priest. And this is here the name of the 60 people, and my father's name is here. And like I said before, they have 2 monuments, one in a site of execution and another site where all these people that got buried together. This was a group of people that they resisted the Germans, and was more or less fighters. And this was the German paratroopers that they come and took the island over. And this supposed to be the heavyweight champion of the world, Max Schmeling, that he was fight at the time. And here is a destruction of a city after the bombings. And here is the German general in Athens that they was more or less in a command how to do the plans to come from the air and take over the island. And over here is an old Cretan fighters that they want to fight, but was not arms for them to, no arms was given to them to fight the Germans.
So what were they using there?
They could use anything, maybe hunting guns or whatever they have, whatever they have. And
Looks like sticks from here.
Here is another site that other people got executed, and sites like this is very common all over in Crete. It's not only my father's, but sites like my father's is all over in Crete from the German Nazi brutality, from the brutality of the Nazis for the general population.
Well, this has been simply wonderful.
Thank you very much, and I'm so glad to be here because I share my story and my problems, which is have some connection with the Jewish suffering in the World War II.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.